A quick tips and tricks video about the importance of leading your shots. So the other day I was playing in the squad line battle event and I was assigned to the sniper role for that event. A thing that is often overlooked in Hell Let Loose and what I see a lot of players doing is not leading their shots properly. Since long distance fights in Hell Let Loose are king, and when you're patiently enough you can often catch a player moving from point A to point B. This is where the enemy player is most vulnerable. He has no cover, nowhere to hide, and he probably hasn't seen you. Hitting moving targets in Hell Let Loose can be a difficult thing due to multiple factors like running speed. I've already discussed it quickly in my how to improve your gameplay video, but in this short video I will go over a bit more in depth what leading your shots is, why it is important, and how you can apply it in your gameplay. Leading your shots is basically positioning your iron sight or scope a bit ahead of the enemy player, moving from point A to point B, and then firing a bit ahead of the enemy player, so your bullet will hit the enemy player in its run path. It sounds a bit more difficult than it actually is, but to give you an example, here we have a player running from point A to point B. A general rule of thumb is the player, well the enemy player, is bolting to the next piece of cover, and most of the time if a player doesn't know you are there, the player will usually run in a straight line. This also makes it a lot easier to lead your shot and hit him while the player is sprinting. Now there's another valuable lesson in here: never run in a straight line. Anyways, if you got the tracking or leading on the player right, you can easily shoot them whilst they are sprinting. How to learn this technique? Well, to learn and get a good feeling for this on how to lead your shots, we run into a massive problem that there is no real way to practice in Hell Let Loose besides grinding it out, like I mentioned in my quality of life changes video, which is linked in the top somewhere. To get it in your muscle memory and become something you do automatically requires you to just grind it out, play and through trial and error. Luckily we don't really have to deal with bullet velocity or bullet drop off. It makes it a lot easier to master this. The best tip I can give you is patience. When lining up your shot, do not rush it, because this will likely result in you missing the shot. When tracking or leading your shot, you have a few seconds to get the shot lined up, so make use of that. Another thing that will help massively is getting your mouse sensitivity right. A high sensitivity will make leading your shot so much harder, and you're more likely to overshoot your target when tracking him. There's also another factor that comes into play, and that is your game sense or game knowledge. This is more based on the fact that you have a general idea where a player might be heading. The only way you can improve on that is to grind out games and learn the maps. Let's grab another example and freeze the clip. In this clip we see a player running from right to left in a straight line and sprinting. I get my crosshair straight on the target, and instead of firing straight away, I aim a little bit before him and track him. The amount I need to aim ahead of him is second nature for me through playing this game a lot. Before I take the shot, I keep my aim steady at a fixed point and let him walk into it and fire the shot just before he actually runs into my crosshair. Also, there's a little bit of bullet drop in this game that you need to take into account, but that isn't much. My advice here is always take the safe shot and go for the torso, not the head. The torso has a much bigger hitbox, and especially with the sniper, one shot to the torso is usually deadly and will get the job done. This is an easier one to pull off and get right. However, there are a few occasions where the player is zigzagging, jumping, rotating and doing all kinds of stuff to making it way harder to get your shot off. To align a shot on a player that is doing this, it requires some patience and fast decision making on your end. Usually you can quickly recognize a pattern, as in when they are stopping and making a turn. Just track the player for a second, recognize his stopping and moving pattern, and adapt to that before taking the shot. So this was a quick tips and tricks video. Hopefully this explains how to lead the shot properly and help you get better at it or apply it in your own gameplay. If you have any questions or if I can help with anything regarding this subject, feel free to leave a comment or reach out to me in another way. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.